nation of dreamers, believing in our dreams. It can be kila mmoja wetu ana ndoto zake, tukijitahidi tutazifikia. Nchi ya mashujaa, nchi ya tumaini, imara na ustawi, daima twende mbele, 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 our dreams. We're a nation of dreamers, believing in our dreams. It can be kila mmoja wetu ana ndoto zake, tukijitahidi tutazifikia. Nchi ya mashujaa, nchi ya tumaini, imara na ustawi, daima twende mbele, 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 our dreams are big, mbele, mbele, our dreams are strong. Mipango kutimika, ndoto kufanikiwa, sote twasonga mbele hadi tufike kilele. We're a nation of dreamers, na ndoto zetu, fanikio yetu. It can be, usikate tamaa, usikufe moyo, anzia ulipo, kupiga hatua, hatua kwa hatua. Our dreams are big, bidii kwa bidii. It can be, we're a nation of dreamers, na ndoto zetu, fanikio yetu. It can be, we're a nation of dreamers, na ndoto zetu, fanikio yetu. It can be, hadi tufike kilele, hadi tufike kilele, hadi tufike kilele. It can be. We're a nation of dreamers, believing in our dreams. It can be kila mmoja wetu ana ndoto zake, tukijitahidi tutazifikia. Nchi ya mashujaa, nchi ya tumaini, imara na ustawi, daima twende mbele, 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 our dreams are big, mbele, mbele, our dreams are strong. Mipango kutimika, ndoto kufanikiwa, sote twasonga mbele hadi tufike kilele. We're a nation of dreamers, na ndoto zetu, fanikio yetu. It can We're a nation of dreamers, believing in our dreams. Tukiamini sote tutafanikiwa, ndoto zetu zote zitakuja kuwa. Hatua kwa hatua, bidii kwa bidii, hatua kwa hatua, it can be. Ndoto zetu zote zitakuja kuwa. Hadi tufike kilele, hadi tufike kilele, hadi tufike kilele. We're a nation of dreamers, na ndoto zetu, mafanikio yetu. We're a nation of dreamers.
Record in the marathon.
It can be. We're a nation of dreamers, believing in our dreams. It can be. Kila mmoja wetu ana ndoto zake, tukijitahidi tutazifikia. Nchi ya mashujaa, nchi ya tumaini, imara na ustawi, daima twende mbele, mbele, mbele. Our dreams are mbele, mbele, mbele. Our dreams are strong. Mipango kutimika, ndoto kufanikiwa, sote twasonga mbele hadi tufike kilele. We're a nation of dreamers, na ndoto zetu, mafanikio yetu. It can be. Usikate tamaa, usikufe moyo, anzia ulipo, kupiga hatua, hatua kwa hatua. Our dreams are big, bidii kwa bidii. It can be. We're a nation of dreamers, na ndoto zetu, mafanikio yetu. It can be. We're a nation of dreamers, na ndoto zetu, mafanikio yetu. It can be. Hadi tufike kilele, hadi tufike kilele, hadi tufike kilele. It can be. We're a nation of dreamers, believing in our dreams. It can be. Kila mmoja wetu ana ndoto zake, tukijitahidi tutazifikia. Nchi ya mashujaa, nchi ya tumaini, imara na ustawi, daima twende mbele, mbele, mbele. Our dreams are big, dreamers na ndoto zetu, fanikio yetu. It can be, usikate tamaa, usikufe moyo, anzia ulipo, kupiga hatua, hatua kwa hatua. Our dreams are big, believe, it can be. We're a nation of dreamers, na ndoto zetu, fanikio yetu. It can be. We're a nation of dreamers, na ndoto zetu, fanikio yetu. It can be. Hadi tufike kilele, hadi tufike kilele. It can be. We're a nation of dreamers, believing in our dreams. Tukiamini sote tutafanikiwa, ndoto zetu zote zitakuja kuwa, hatua kwa hatua, bidii kwa bidii, hatua kwa hatua, it can be. Ndoto zetu zote zitakuja kuwa, hadi tufike kilele, hadi tufike kilele, hadi tufike kilele. We're a nation of dreamers, na ndoto zetu, fanikio yetu. We're a nation of dreamers.
Record in the marathon.
It can be. We're a nation of dreamers, believing in our dreams. It can be. Kila mmoja wetu ana ndoto zake, tukijitahidi tutazifikia. Nchi ya mashujaa, nchi ya tumaini, imara na ustawi, daima twende mbele, mbele, mbele. Our dreams are big, mbele, mbele. Our dreams are strong. Mipango kutimika, ndoto kufanikiwa, sote twasonga mbele, hadi tufike kilele. We're a nation of dreamers, na ndoto zetu, mafanikio yetu. It can be, usikate tamaa, usikufe moyo, anzia ulipo, kupiga hatua, hatua kwa hatua. Our dreams are big, bidii kwa bidii. It can be, we're a nation of dreamers, na ndoto zetu, fanikio yetu. It can be, we're a nation of dreamers, na ndoto zetu, fanikio yetu. It can be, hadi tufike kilele, hadi tufike kilele, hadi tufike kilele. It can be. We're a nation of dreamers, believing in our dreams. It can be, kila mmoja wetu ana ndoto zake, tukijitahidi tutazifikia. Nchi ya mashujaa, nchi ya tumaini, imara na ustawi, daima twende mbele. Our dreams are big. Our dreams are strong. Mipango kutimika, ndoto kufanikiwa, sote twasonga mbele, hadi tufike kilele. We're a nation of dreamers, na ndoto zetu, fanikio yetu. It can be, usikate tamaa, usikufe moyo, anzia ulipo, kupiga hatua, hatua kwa hatua. Our dreams are big, bidii kwa bidii. It can be, we're a nation of dreamers, na ndoto zetu, fanikio yetu. It can be, we're a nation of dreamers, na ndoto zetu, fanikio yetu. It can be, hadi tufike kilele, hadi tufike kilele. It can be. We're a nation of dreamers, believing in our dreams. Tukiamini sote tutafanikiwa, ndoto zetu zote zitakuja.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for honoring us this morning. It's good to see many faces and people we haven't seen in a very long while. So we will begin our program in exactly 10 minutes. So please feel free. There is breakfast. Drink some chai, coffee. take some breakfast. We'll begin at exactly 8 o'clock. So again, welcome.
Ndoto zetu zitakuja kuwa hadi tufike kilele, hadi tufike kilele, hadi tufike kilele.
Kathy Njoroge from Stanbic. Yes, PR manager. Yes. Yes, I'll be
We're a nation of dreamers.
Record in the marathon.
See you come, Mike.
It can be. We're a nation of dreamers, believing in our dreams. It can be. Kila mmoja wetu ana ndoto zake, tukijitahidi tutazifikia. Nchi ya mashujaa, nchi ya tumaini, imara na ustawi, daima twende mbele, mbele, mbele. Our dreams are big, mbele, mbele. Our dreams are strong. Mipango kutimika, ndoto kufanikiwa, sote twasonga mbele hadi tufike kilele. We're a nation of dreamers, na ndoto zetu, fanikio yetu. It can be. Usikate tamaa, usikufe moyo, anzia ulipo, kupiga hatua, hatua kwa hatua. Our dreams are big, bidii kwa bidii. It can be. We're a nation of dreamers, na ndoto zetu, fanikio yetu. It can be. We're a nation of dreamers, na ndoto zetu, fanikio yetu. It can be. Hadi tufike kilele, hadi tufike kilele, hadi tufike kilele. It can be. We're a nation of dreamers, believing in our dreams.
Testing.
It can be. Kila mmoja wetu ana ndoto zake, tukijitahidi
Testing one, two,
tutazifikia. Nchi ya mashujaa, nchi ya tumaini,
testing one.
imara na ustawi, daima twende mbele, mbele, mbele. Our dreams are big, mbele, mbele. Our dreams are strong. Mipango kutimika, ndoto kufanikiwa, sote twasonga mbele hadi tufike kilele. We're a nation of dreamers, na ndoto zetu, fanikio yetu. It can be. Usikate tamaa, usikufe moyo, anzia ulipo, kupiga hatua, hatua kwa hatua. Our dreams are big, bidii kwa bidii. It can be. We're a nation of dreamers, na ndoto zetu, fanikio yetu. It can be. We're a nation of dreamers. nation of dreamers, believing in our dreams. Tukiamini sote tutafanikiwa, ndoto zetu zote zitakuja kuwa, hatua kwa hatua, bidii kwa bidii, hatua kwa hatua, it can be. Ndoto zetu zote zitakuja kuwa, hadi tufike kilele, hadi tufike kilele, hadi tufike kilele. We're a nation of dreamers, na ndoto zetu, mafanikio yetu. We're a nation of dreamers.
Record in the marathon.
It can be. We're a nation of dreamers, believing in our dreams. It can be. Kila mmoja wetu ana ndoto zake, tukijitahidi tutazifikia. Nchi ya mashujaa, nchi ya tumaini, imara na ustawi, daima twende mbele, mbele, mbele. Our dreams are big, mbele, mbele. Our dreams are strong. Mipango kutimika, ndoto kufanikiwa, sote twasonga mbele, hadi tufike kilele. We're a nation of dreamers, na ndoto zetu, mafanikio yetu. It can be. Usikate tamaa, usikufe moyo, anzia ulipo, kupiga hatua, hatua kwa hatua. Our dreams are big, bidii kwa bidii. It can be. We're a nation of dreamers, na ndoto zetu, mafanikio yetu. It can be. We're a nation of dreamers, na ndoto zetu, mafanikio yetu. It can be. Hadi tufike kilele, hadi tufike kilele, hadi tufike kilele. It can be. We're a nation of dreamers, believing in our dreams. It can be. Kila mmoja wetu ana ndoto zake, tukijitahidi tutazifikia. Nchi ya mashujaa, nchi ya tumaini, imara na ustawi, daima twende mbele, mbele, mbele. Our dreams are big, mbele, mbele. Our dreams are strong. Mipango kutimika, ndoto kufanikiwa, sote twasonga mbele, hadi tufike kilele. We're a nation of dreamers, na ndoto zetu, mafanikio yetu. mafanikio yetu. It can be, we're a nation of dreamers, na ndoto zetu, mafanikio yetu. It can be, hadi tufike kilele, hadi tufike kilele. It can be. We're a nation of dreamers, believing in our dreams. Tukiamini sote tutafanikiwa, ndoto zetu zote zitakuja kuwa. Hatua kwa hatua, bidii kwa bidii, yeah. Hatua kwa hatua, yeah. It can be. Ndoto zetu zote zitakuja kuwa. Hadi tufike kilele, hadi tufike kilele, hadi tufike kilele. We're a nation of dreamers, na ndoto zetu, mafanikio yetu. We're a nation of dreamers.
The world record in the marathon.
It can be. nation of dreamers, believing in our dreams. It can be kila mmoja wetu ana ndoto zake, tukijitahidi tutazifikia nchi ya mashujaa.
Good morning, everyone. I'll kindly ask that we please take our seats so we could begin our program this morning. Thank you very much. I think if you haven't had a cup of coffee or chai, please just have one and you can sit and enjoy the program together with us. Thank you. Thank you. So, board members, our colleagues from Stanbic, fellow industry players, members of the Fourth Estate, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, everyone watching us from our online platforms, welcome to Stanbic Holdings 2020 Financial Results Media Briefing. My name is Catherine Njoroge. I'm the Senior External Affairs and Corporate Communication Manager at Stanbic Bank, Kenya. We just want to thank you very much for honoring our invitation this morning. Many of you, I know you've battled traffic to be here with us, very early morning, but thank you very much. I think I just want to really thank you, the media. We've walked this journey with you. Thank you for being a great partner. We do recognize that you are a critical stakeholder in our journey. So thank you very much. We've been together in the past years and we'll continue to work together. So before we kick off, please pay a very close attention to this briefing video from Kempinski so that we can enjoy the safety within the premises. Thanks.
Kempinski Emergency Villa Rosa Emergency Evacuation Procedure.
As we wait for the technical team to put in place a video, maybe we could continue with the conversation. So we are cognizant that this event is within the COVID period. So remember, your health and safety is our priority. So just a few key reminders so that we can all be safe, we can keep you safe. Always put your mask on throughout this program. Unless you're having a meal, you will notice that your sitting station, there is enough space for social distancing. So we will kindly ask that you respect that sitting distance. And there's sanitizer at the entrance of this room. So please ensure that you sanitize regularly. If we do that, we ensure that we are safe all through the program. Just checking if the Kempinski video is ready. All right, great. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, 2020 has been a hard year. And I know we all can attest to this, right? It's affected all of us, shifted the way we do business, the way we interact, the way we socialize. I remember last year, we had our first financial results from a digital perspective. So a lot has changed. But a year ago, in this very hotel, a month ago, sorry, in this very hotel on the 4th of February, we invited you here to tell our story. A story of hope and aspirations. And our tagline, it can be, around our passion, our dream, and our purpose. So ladies and gentlemen, today, that story continues. The story behind the numbers will speak to our ethos as a bank, of who we are and where we're going as a Kenya bank. To help us tell this story, I'm honored to have the presence of our leadership, Stanbic Holdings Chief Executive, Mr. Patrick Mwehira, Stanbic Bank Chief Executive, Mr. Charles Mudiwa, and Stanbic Bank Chief Financial Officer, Mr. Abraham Ogenge. So we'll begin our program. Kindly allow me to introduce Patrick. Welcome.
Welcome to this, hello? Can you hear me? Yep. Welcome to this performance briefing for 2020. My name is Patrick Mwehire. I'm the Regional CEO for Standard Bank Group and also the CEO for the Stanbic Holdings. It's a role that I took on in March 2020 but did not actually move to Kenya till October 2020. And for those many reasons, because 2020 was a very challenging year. As you know, we had COVID as disruption. We saw the GDP in Kenya contract for 2 quarters in a row, significantly impacting economic activity. We saw a lot of pressure in the economy. The shilling had the double whammy effect of, effectively shutting down all the dollar revenues from tourism, horticulture, and then having a huge pressure in terms of imports because we were going through COVID. Commercial banks were really under pressure. We had to give up some marginal fees, and we saw NPLs actually hike up to 14% by the end of 2020. Private sector credit growth also slowed down because obviously economic activity had slowed down. But I was really encouraged by our response. We stayed very true to the communities that we serve. We saw a huge amount of digitization happen during the COVID period. We provided huge amounts of relief, and I was really, really encouraged by our employees and their resilience to continue to work from home, but also open their big hearts out to the community. So in this backdrop with many banks showing profit warnings, it was great pleasure for me to announce that our bank was still able to approve a dividend of about 1.5 billion for 2020. I think our bank showed huge amounts of resilience. And I think when I look out for the 2021, we remain very strong with huge amounts of capital and liquidity levels. We in fact witnessed a huge amount of flight to quality during the year as we continue to win market share and deposit growth. So we're very confident about Kenya's prospects for 2021. We remain quite confident about our capability to win in the marketplace. We also remain part of the largest bank in Africa, which remains extremely confident about the certainty of Kenya. And then finally, I just want to shout out an appreciation to the board, fellow board members, the management of the bank and all the different subsidiaries. A special thank you to the members of staff that really worked through such a very difficult year. And our clients more especially, who stuck with us in a very difficult period. And then lastly, to all our other stakeholders, the government, the regulators, shareholders, we thank you. Thank you for all your support in 2020. And thanks for listening. Cheers.
Thank you very much, Patrick. Yes, as you can see, we're adhering to COVID protocols. So as you come, you can sanitize before touching anything. So allow me to please invite our Stanbic Bank Chief Executive, Mr. Mudiwa, to carry on the story. Welcome, Charles.
Good morning, and thank you very much for joining us today. We truly appreciate your taking the time to join us and be here, and we'll try and make sure that we're here as quickly as we can. Thank you, Patrick, for the presentation and the introduction and explaining where we are. 2020 was a unique year in many ways for a lot of us. Unique in the sense that as we finish 2019, we're all looking forward and hopeful to a great 2020. And of course, for those who are spiritual, I think we were all talking about double, because we all thought 2020 is going to be double. But of course, as it turned out that we ended up with a different year and a new challenge that we had to deal with. Of course, we all know about COVID and the issues that arose from there. But for us, this is the continuation of a journey. And if you look at our history and where we started from when we did the merger between Stanbic and CFC, you can start to see that that journey has been a progressive one and a successful journey. I'll just ask that we move to the next slide that just shows on the screen what that journey has been like and where we have walked to. So we just move to the next slide. Just move again. So if you look at our journey from 2008 when we did the merger with CFC, we just thought we would do a reflection and look at what have we done so far. We can see the shift in our capital, share capital, almost by a factor of almost 2.5 from where we started in 2008, from 19 billion to 51 billion as we speak today. So we've seen a very progressive and a significant growth in our share capital during this period. But also if you look at our network, we've increased our network from that period from about 12 branches to almost 26 that we have now. ATMs have increased to 54 where we are. And you can even see we did not have cash deposit machines where we now have 55 of those coming up now. And of course, we have 148 agents that have been done in the last 4 years or so. So we have seen a progressive journey and a continued growth of the business during that same period. And we would like to say thank you to our customers and thank you to all our stakeholders as we have started to see this journey and continue to progress moving forward. But as we have looked at the economy during this period as well, we have seen that the economy, even though we had COVID, the macros remained fairly stable. Inflation kind of dipped and then started going up, but we've generally seen a very stable environment. Of course, we've seen the pressure coming through on the on our GDP, and I think we can see that dip in the third quarter, but I think we've started to see it coming back in the fourth quarter as well. And then, of course, there was pressure on the currency, but it has then taken that knock and has remained flat now going forward as we look into the year 2021. So while there was impact of COVID, we saw resilience in the economy, and we saw resilience in the macros of the economy, showing that Kenya can withstand this huge impact. Yes, there is some dent, but the economy has continued to show some resilience, and we're thankful for the regulators and for all the stakeholders involved in managing the economy for this fantastic effort. Looking broadly, of course, we had to deal with a couple of other issues which had to do, of course, COVID, as we all know, came through, climate change, particularly the locust infestations and the floods that came through, and then, of course, the regulatory pressures that we also had to deal with during this same period. So I think somebody in one of the newspapers called it a trilemma, which is the trilemma of COVID, the trilemma of COVID, floods, and locusts. And I think that's what 2020 was about, dealing with that trilemma and managing the economy in such a difficult and turbulent time. And looking at the countries that we operate in, we saw the same kind of challenges coming through. I mean, we are all in the same region where we are in Uganda, in Rwanda, and of course in Kenya and South Sudan. And we saw the same pressures, particularly on the COVID impact. But what is heartening is that we've also seen an uptick coming up into the fourth quarter and starting into the first quarter of this year, that the economies have all started to show some kind of improvement and seen an uptick coming through. Of course, there's a concern around the new strain of viruses coming through, but of course, with the arrival of the vaccination, we hope that will mitigate that and we shall start to see a rebound in the economy. From a strategy point of view, we continue to focus on our strategy, which still looked at how do we deal with the clients, how do we focus on our digital platforms, and how do we continue to collaborate and work together and integrate our business across all our business lines. But also to continue with our value drivers around our client engagement, around our employee engagement, our financial outcomes, our risk management, and our social and economic responsibilities. I'll just go into the details of what we kind of thought through and how we worked through. Our strategy last year was premised on 3 issues. One was, how do we respond to COVID? Because COVID came in March, and we all suddenly found ourselves having to deal with this issue and responding to it. And that was our first immediate reaction. And a lot of us had to do things that allowed us to protect our employees, protect our staff, and ensure the wellness and well-being of all our stakeholders in the first instance, and support communities in that process. We then had to do what we call a restore, which is how do we continue to run the business in this environment and start to see how we can continue to service our clients and to support our business. And then thirdly, the last piece was rebound. How do we see opportunities and what can we see from a growth perspective during this period? Now, what you will see is that we made conscious decisions around addressing this. One was, of course, supporting our customers. How do we work with our clients during this period? And we did a number of things which are highlighted on the screen. For example, ensuring that we can lift our clients financially. We were the first bank to announce a moratorium on our customers so that we could support and lift them up financially to a point where we did 40 billion shillings worth of loan restructures and moratoriums across that during that period. The second issue, as you can see from there, we talked about accelerated digital capabilities. We allowed our mobile, we relaunched our mobile capability to a point where we saw almost over 80% of transactions now going through mobile. As our customers took onto the mobile transactions, we found almost 90% of our deposits are going through mobile. As our customers started to use our digitally enabled bulk note acceptances, and we start to see a shift by our customers to transacting on the mobile devices and to use digital platforms as we enable them. And that was fantastic, and I want to say thank you to our customers for responding so favorably and supporting their businesses, but also supporting our efforts to provide these tools to them. We also saw ourselves safeguarding our customers, as most of them were retrenched and had to deal with that. And we paid out retrenchment payouts through our insurance agency, our CL. In this case, over 400 claims were fully settled during this period. So our first reaction was, how do we support our customers, work with our customers during this period to ensure that their businesses can sustain and can continue to function. From there on, we also looked at how do we support our staff, because they are also part of our team and they're the ones who enable our processes to happen. And in this period, we support our staff, as you can see, through psychological support. I think we provided support for all our staff who we needed it as they went through managing this, because we knew that COVID is not a health issue only. It also had stress related to it as we all had to deal with it. And we provided support to our staff through this. We provided safety for our staff, and I can see the amount of money we spent, 7.3 million shillings, just on protective gears, face masks, and other utilities for our staff. Over 60% of our staff were enabled to work from home, and up to now, we're still largely working from home for a lot of our staff, and only the staff who need to come back to the office are in the office, as we provided safety environment for them to continue to be able to support the business, but at the same time, protecting them as well and ensuring their wellness. Where we needed to take staff into quarantine or provide tests, we fully paid for the tests and provided for quarantine where it was necessary to ensure that all our staff continue to be protected. And then, of course, at the last point, we also started to train our staff. So we went through a massive retraining of our staff in digital capabilities to ensure that they are equipped to be able to deal with the new world that we live in. So we rolled out a number of programs with a number of partners that we worked with as we went through the year. The last part was, how do we support our communities? So we supported our customers, we supported our staff, but we also supported communities. The first thing we did was that we realized there was a dire need to provide oxygen ventilators in the country. And because the country was short and everybody was looking for them, we partnered with a number of corporates and brought in 192 oxygen ventilators, which almost doubled the number of ventilators that were available in the country at that point in time. And it was a fundamental shift in terms of providing support to our hospitals to be able to cope with the pandemic. But we went beyond that. We also supported by providing face masks, PPEs to a number of hospitals in a partnership with the Kenya Hospital Health Federation as part of our work to make sure that we support that. We went beyond that. We worked with the Rotary and provided over 700, actually, by the time we're finishing now, it's over 1,000 water stations across the country, where we distributed water stations for sanitation in places where people could not sanitize and have resources to do so. And these stations are still being rolled out in a number of police stations. We did something with the Minister of Industrialization and Trade, where we did all their training centers. We did something across a number of NGOs. So this was to support communities to ensure that during this period, sanitization is also upheld. As we all know, one of the preventative measures for COVID is to sanitize and to ensure that you've got clean hands, particularly during this period. And we worked through this. Of course, we also did cancer screening. I mean, not to forget that, because cancer is still a major threat in this country, and we didn't want to forget it. 3,000 people were screened through our efforts during the year as we worked through in terms of cancer screening. But we also went through and spent over 3 million on education to support needy children as part of our community work to support that. We ran a number of boot camps to retrain people, and as you saw a couple of weeks ago, we launched a partnership with Microsoft where we're going to be training a lot of the staff that were made redundant. And our plan is that this year alone, we will train 50,000 people who are going to get new skills and new capabilities to allow them to restart their lives after the redundancies that they went through as a result of COVID. So our efforts in terms of community building, community support during this period was actually in this kind of efforts. And what it is that the business showed resilience, we supported communities, we supported our customers. And we want to say thank you very much to the communities that allowed us to do that, to the government that allowed us to be partner with them, to Rotary that partnered with us, and to all other partners and stakeholders that we worked with that continue to give us this support to ensure that we can actually live our purpose, which is Kenya is our home, we drive a growth. As we went through this, I think we also got recognition globally for some of the efforts that we did. I mean, we best investment bank in Kenya. We also seen as the best investment in Kenya by Euromoney, by EMEA. We're seen as one of the most innovative and groundbreaking bank. This was in 2019. So in 2019, I think we're also the safest bank in Kenya. So we continue getting global recognition for these efforts that we put in place. And I think this goes to show that the bank remains on a sound footing, remains solid, and continues to be resilient in spite of the challenges that we are all facing. So we continue to look at our risk matrix and to manage our customers and to manage them, and I think we've highlighted some of the issues that we had to deal with from a risk perspective. As you can see, I mean, loan repayments, we started to provide amortization for that and support to customers around that. We started to manage our costs down to ensure that we continue to be efficient in what we do. And then, of course, we continue to be digital savvy to provide resources so that we continue to support your business. So overall, what you can say is that we continue to see resilience in our business. We were supporting our communities, and we were supporting our staff and our customers. And we want to say thank you to our customers for standing by with us. Thank you to our staff for being there during a difficult period and standing with the bank and being resilient. And of course, thank you to our communities for being resilient to make sure that the country as a whole can pull through this. To our regulators and key stakeholders, we want to say thank you for being there to support us as we navigated through a very difficult year, but which we all have seen. As we have all said, this was the summer of 2020, and we started to see a new generation coming up into 2021. And we want to say thank you for this. Now, I'd like to invite our CFO now to walk through the financials and demonstrate the outcomes of all these efforts.
Good morning. Thank you very much, Charles. I'll take you through the numbers. I'll be quite quick, and I'll really tell you the story of what Charles has just talked about around our strategic plan around how do we respond to the pandemic, how do we restore, and actually how do we rebound. So quickly, if you kind of look at the results, if we can give you some highlights. Our profit after tax, 5.2 billion, down about 19% compared to 2019. Our revenues, 23 billion Kenya shillings, down from about 25 billion Kenya shillings. You can see a double-digit return on equity. Cost to income, quite some view around efficiency there, coming down to 52% compared to last year, 56%. Our fundamentals around customer loan growth up about 4% to 158 billion. Our customer deposits up about 12% from 194 billion to 217 billion. We've talked about the dividend, 1.5 billion. This represents about 29% of our earnings in the year, being about 3.8 shillings per share. This is actually a story of two halves, and I'll really reflect that if we go to the details of the financials. You can move to the next slide. So when we were releasing our results in June 2020, half year 2020, our pre-provision profit was about 10% down in June. If we look at the second half of the year, we can see we are closing the year with a pre-provision profit 2% up. Now, this is the story of rebound. So we were about 10% down in June 2020. We are now 2% up on a pre-provision profit in December 2020. If I then go to profit after tax, when we were speaking about our results in June, we were 37% down on profit after tax. We are now only 19% down on profit after tax. This does tell you that there is a story of hope, there is a story of rebound in the business. Now, if you kind of look at the fundamentals, our pre-provision profit looking up, so it does tell you the business is growing. We did have to take some increased credit impairment charges, as would be common in a COVID pandemic period, which then increased our credit impairment charges by about 55% year on year. Just kind of thinking about some of the other things to look at, we were more efficient. Our costs coming down 13%. This does tell you that COVID has also allowed us to rethink our models. It has also allowed our customers to kind of adopt most of our digital offerings, and therefore some of that benefits passed through them through reduced fees, but also we are seeing a much more better effect around our operating expenses. We are seeing pressures in our margins, largely on account of subdued interest rates during the year, and we also did see some decline around yields on commercial paper. Our NPL ratios went up slightly, but we do think that we can see some offshoots of hope. Even as we released our PMI, we can see some effects of growth in the first coming months of the year 2021. So to conclude, I actually do see that we are actually moving down the turn. We are seeing an improvement in business conditions, and we are actually quite hopeful that we will deliver a much more better result in the year 2021. We are definitely optimistic and cautiously optimistic, though, that we will continue to support our clients to ensure that they also meet their obligations from a lending perspective. Thanks very much. I would probably want to invite back Charles to conclude with the outlook for the year. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Abraham. So as Abraham has highlighted, as we looked into the year, we saw the worst case of COVID hitting us around from about March, April, May, June, the first half of the year. Second half, the story was one of showing some rebound, and we saw a huge improvement. And as indicated, overall, the key balance sheet measures demonstrated resilience. We saw growth in our assets, in other words, in our loans and the advances to our customers. We saw growth in our liabilities, our deposits. So we saw growth in the core balance sheet measures, and as a result, our pre-provisions outcome actually showed an uptick in the on performance. So broadly, we saw resilience in our business. We saw our business coming through and being able to show the core numbers of progression. Now, as we look into 2021, we clearly have a positive outcome that we're looking at. And what we're saying is that we believe that we have a positive look into 2021. Yes, COVID will continue to be there, and the challenges that we're facing will continue to be there. There are still some lag effects of COVID that we expect to see coming through as we progress in the year. But however, we're optimistic that we will see a better 2021 than what we saw in 2020. And in this regard, we are refocusing our business to start to address some of the experiences that we got from COVID and to start to focus on a new environment, a new challenge that we face around into 2021. And in this regard, the key focus for us will be to reorganize our business and think about it from a customer segment point of view, where we will look at wholesale customers, we'll now look at consumer customers, we'll look at business and commercial customers, and we're focusing specifically on customer segments that will allow us to be able to focus directly into what they require. And then, of course, we'll look at our high net worth customers as well. And this will all be underpinned by a very clear strategy around our data and artificial intelligence, as we saw that the importance of digital capability during COVID is paramount. And therefore, we need to have that capability strengthened and resourced to ensure that we're actually able to deliver that. We'll start looking at more partnerships and ecosystems, understanding how our customers operate, sitting in their day-to-day lives, and understanding end-to-end how they think and what their requirements are for us. And then, of course, providing the workforce of the future that will ensure that our staff are fully equipped, fully resourced to be able to deliver a new business in a new environment, operating in a new way. So we're saying, as we focus on our purpose, Kenya as a home, we drive a growth, and focus on our strategy to be the leading financial services organization in this market, we see ourselves becoming truly human, truly digital, but above all, truly customer-focused. That's really what we're about, and that's what we're looking as an outlook for the business going into the future. And we want to say thank you to all our partners for supporting us as we embark on a new journey and a new exciting times of rebuilding our business post-COVID.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much, Charles. Thank you, Abraham. Thank you, Patrick. Ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the end of our program, but we've had some great presentation. We've had a story of resilience and the great things we're doing with our clients, community, and staff. I'd like us to watch just a video that explains our story. So please, ladies and gentlemen, just follow through. Then we will go to our questions.
Naivasha is a very good town in terms of business. We have hospitality. There are so many flower farms in Naivasha. So it's a center of business. After I finished college, I joined hospitality. I worked for about 14 years. I'm still working there on commission basis. My business deals with protective clothing, dust coats, gumboots, headscarves, gloves, all those types of things. Why I thought of moving to side hustle is because whatever money you are paid in employment is not even enough to meet your bills. I met a good friend of mine who introduced me to do the work I'm doing today. I asked him whether he will agree. If I do go marketing, I bring him some work if he will support me doing that business. It was an order of quite some good money, more than 500,000, and it was my first order. So I took to him. He financed the entire LPU, and I delivered. So after 1 month, I was paid my money. Then I paid him his proceeds. In the course of the year, nikachanuka kidogo. Nikasema, if I start buying my own machines, I can be able to manage on my own. So I started buying pole, little by little. Before I was getting little profits when I was doing brokerage, but now, because I'm doing it on my own, through partnering with Stanbic Bank, I'm able to get good profit margin. Actually, when I joined, I had to bank with them for about 3 months. After 3 months, this is when I qualified to get financial assistance. Every time I need financial assistance, I normally go to them. I've also taken some money with Dada, and they inspired so many women to start businesses, and they have helped me so much. I did not have a vehicle for delivery. I just approached them, and they bought a car for me. Banks need to empower the small entrepreneurs so that they can come up and give them financial support. Institutions are there to help you grow and even giving us business ideas. If you have a dream, don't sit on the dream, just work on it. Because if you don't have action on that dream, then the dream is dead. You need to take a step. Dare to aspire, dare to achieve. My side hustle has become my main hustle. So inawezekana.
Thank you very much. That was just one of our stories of our customers and the support that we've given in this very difficult time of COVID, and we do appreciate walking the journey with them, especially with our Dada. So, ladies and gentlemen, we've reached the point where we want to interact with you, we want to have a discussion, and I have a capable team of our leadership ready to answer the questions. We will have 2 assistants with the mics. Because of COVID, we will advise that you just speak on it when it's brought to you to avoid touching, and please wear your mask as you ask the questions. So please, ladies and gentlemen, any questions? Yes, we have a question, please. Thank you.
Okay. Can you hear me? Is it even on?
The mic?
Hello, good morning. My name is George Obulutsa, Reuters News, and I have 2 questions. The first one is, how much is Stanbic Holdings putting into the government-led credit guarantee scheme that was announced last year? And the second one is, how much of its workforce would be required or will continue working from home during this year?
Thank you. I believe, okay. We can have, okay, maybe take, okay. So we can take one question at a time? Oh, one more question. Thank you. Kefa, please, go ahead.
Good morning. Kefa Muirore, Radio Citizen Digital. I just have, sorry, not one question, I just have 3. And begin with the semi-lending. And I'm curious to find out from Udiwa, there's a lot of expectations after the rollout of the semi-credit guarantee scheme on where private sector credit trends. And I'm curious of where first your loan book, you see your loan book on SMEs being this year, and perhaps the expectations on industry. There's also be another criticism. This is from the budget committee that's suggesting that part of measures CBK put in place last year did not achieve the intended target, as they see the average interest rate on loans still being around 12% per annum. Don't know how you would respond. Is it a factor of cost, or is it availability of loans? Because again, you can have loans that no one no one will afford on sometimes affordable loans, but you can't, the risk profile of borrowers is high. My second question is on the dividend. This was interesting, knowing that a lot of firms have adopted the cash preservation stance, but you're seeing 3 shillings 80 cents, still a healthy dividend payout for the period. And I'm seeing the capital liquidity buffer still strong, so nothing fundamentally hurt from the balance sheet. But I'm curious to find out why you still opted to go ahead with that, as much as you'd have opted to go without that dividend. My last one is on loan restructures. We know the moratorium that was put in place by the CBK lapses. The average restructure was about 12 months. So again, at the end of this month, that goes away. But I'm curious to find out whether banks themselves may just opt to continue looking at how to restructure depending on maybe a case-by-case basis of sorts. I'm curious to find out how you will be going about it once those moratorium lapses and perhaps not everyone has recovered from the business, from the environment, sorry. Thank you.
Thank you. Maybe we take those questions and we can come to. Thanks.
Thank you very much. I'll answer the question on the credit guarantee scheme. As you know, we are one of the 6 banks. You want me to go to front? Thank you. As you know, we're one of the 6 banks that were the inaugural partners in the launch of the credit guarantee scheme. So we are fully supportive of the credit guarantee scheme. We have been allocated some money around from the credit guarantee scheme, and we are in the process of dispersing that once we finish some of the legalities. So that process is going, and we are fully supportive of that process. We will, of course, we are all now looking at, say, how do we raise additional funding for this? And we have been talking about various modalities that will look at these options. And once we finalize those options, probably announcements will be made around that area. But we are fully supportive of it, and we will support it to ensure that it's successful, as we were among the members that founded it or that started the process. So we'll be very supportive of that. In terms of average interest rates, I would like to say that interest rates have largely remained flat during this period, so they have not really moved up. And certainly speaking for Stanbic, we've actually seen a reduction of interest rates, not an increase of interest rates. So certainly for ourselves, we have seen a reduction because a lot of our loans are linked to CBR. So as the rate has moved down, we've also seen a downward trend in our interest rates. And you can see that reflecting in our margins as a business. So that actually has come through in a lot of our business, and those loans have continued to support. Relating to, I think there's a question around our staff, whether they'll continue to work from home. It's something that we continuously assess every time. As we indicated that we enabled 60% of our staff to be able to work from home. But as things change and as the situation evolves, we may have to call back some people back to the office, but it's something that we continuously monitor and notice and get advice from our medical practitioners and the counselors around this process in terms of what is the best course of action around this. So it's something that we continue to monitor and continue to see how things go. As we progress along, we obviously reevaluate the situation on a case-by-case basis. Relating to loan restructures, yes, we are fully alive to the fact that the moratorium actually lapsed. Actually, it was on the 2nd of March. Yeah, so it lapsed actually 2 days ago. So, and what we did for a lot of our customers is that we did have a prior discussion with them around where they needed to be. And I'm aware that almost 80% of them, we had already reorganized their loans by December last year. So it's an ongoing, continued dialogue that we have with customers. But I think more importantly is to say that we will treat each customer on their specific needs on a case-by-case basis so that we can understand their circumstances and be able to support them through this journey. So it's, while the moratorium has elapsed, but we will support each customers on their circumstances depending on their needs and be able to help them through this journey. We are alive to the fact that while the period given by CBK has lapsed, COVID hasn't ended. And we still are reorganizing our businesses and trying to find our feet in this environment. So we will work with our customers and partner with them as they navigate their businesses. And where necessary, if we have to reschedule loans, we will do so. But this is on a case-by-case basis and on need basis.
Thank you very much, Charles. Abraham, maybe a few points to add on that one? Thank you.
Yeah. Can you hear me? Yeah. I'll probably talk about the dividend. As you would note around our story, we supported our clients, we supported our colleagues, and we supported our communities. It also comes that we also do need to think about how do we support the shareholders, the people who've given us the investment to grow this organization. And you rightfully did say that we do have a strong capital position, we are liquid, and we do see this as an opportunity. About 29% of our shareholders are Kenyans, are local people, minority shareholders, who also do rely on some of these investments to kind of bring in a return. It does demonstrate to you that we are optimistic about the future prospects of this organization, but we are also destined to invest and reinvest to grow. So we do see the dividend payment as a sign of confidence that this organization will continue to grow in the future. Just a little bit of comments around loan restructures. I think what we've seen in our books is that a lot of our customers have resumed payment. About 90% of the customers who we initially lent to have come back to us and said, we are happy to start meeting our obligations. We have given them some level of accommodation depending on the level of their businesses and where their businesses are, but they are actually showing some elements of recovery. So as Charles said, we will continue to look at that on a case-by-case basis. We will still continue to accommodate our customers because we don't think that we did this just because there was regulation. We also did this because of our conscious effort to support our customers. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Abraham. We hope we've answered the questions appropriately. Maybe any additional questions? Yes. Oh, yes, let's have, then we'll come to you. Thanks.
Yes, my name is Wafula Waswa, a reporter from Radio Omini. My question is, when COVID-19 came in, many organizations and companies laid off their staff. And with Stanbic Bank, you talked about, helping the customers, supporting the customer staff and communities. My question is, it was difficult at that time. Did Stanbic Bank also, lay off some staffs? And if yes, what is, or if not, what is the implications of keeping the staff and letting them working from home? Yeah.
Thank you very much. We'll take the other question as well. Thank you.
Good morning. Morning.
Good morning.
Okay, Dennis Otieno is my name from Citizen TV. Just wanted you to expound more on when you talked of the focus to these digital platforms. Exactly what are you looking at? And just clarify on the savings that you've made as a result of shifting to these digital platforms. And also, if it is not really, if it's okay with you, please kindly just tell us about the staff numbers currently and your branch network too. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Maybe as they prepare, is there any other question? We could pair up maybe 3 questions. All right, welcome, Abraham.
Okay. thanks very much for the question around staff. Our staff are actually critical for the results that you've actually seen. So we have no plans to kind of lay off. We did not go through any layoff process in the year 2020. I think the one thing that's quite interesting around staff working from home, there are very interesting stories around staff working from home. One is that for mothers, it allows them to interact a little bit more with their children. Therefore, they are becoming much more productive and also balancing their home duties. I think the one interesting thing around working from home is that most of them say that their disposable income has increased because the time they take to go to work and the fact that they have to pay expensively for meals while they are out of their homes kind of increases their own disposable income. So we actually do see this as something that has created a little bit of benefit from a staff point of view. We are optimistic about 2021, and therefore our view is actually to invest in our staff and to ask our staff to kind of start learning new skills, because the client of today is actually changing in his needs, and there is a increasing need of personalization from a customer point of view. Now, there was a question around digital platforms. Now, we do see an opportunity for us to increase our revenue streams by innovating more on how we become relevant for our customers. So if you look at the transitions that have gone through, especially with some of the regulatory changes, the traditional revenues such as fees, interest, are no longer going to be the key contributors of organizational incomes in the financial institutions. So our aim around digital platforms is actually to create new revenue streams, but also to facilitate the lifestyles of our customers, both as individuals, as businesses, and as corporates. Now, there was a question around savings we've made. If I look at 2020 alone, we've probably restructured our costs to bring out our cost-to-income ratio to about 52%, up from 56%. Now, in terms of costs that we've taken out from the business, we've taken out about 300 million off costs from the business. And these are really practical things. We used to travel to have meetings. You no longer need to travel to have meetings. Our customers used to require physical statements. They now are enjoying digital statements. These are actually quite practical things that are enabling us to be available for our customers 24 hours, but as much also kind of reduce our cost to serve. There was a question around our staff numbers. We are just about under 1,000 from a staff number perspective. We have about 4 operating entities. So that is the Stanbic Foundation, Stanbic Bank, SBG Securities, and Stanbic Insurance Agency. I hope I've covered the questions. Thanks.
Around branches. So I'd asked for them to just put it up, and I think it can answer that. Yes.
Yeah, just under, number of employees just under 1,000. 922. The chief executive knows everyone he is employed.
Thank you, Abraham. Ladies, thank you for that interaction. We are really enjoying the conversations. We wouldn't want you to leave the room without answers. We are still available for interviews. Any last questions before we close our program? I believe no questions means we've given our presentation in a satisfactory manner. Thank you very much. So, ladies and gentlemen, this brings us to the end of our program this morning. I think my part on behalf of Stanbic is to say thank you very much, and we're absolutely honored to have you with us yet again for another year. Like we emphasized, you are our partners, and we walked with you the journey to tell our story. We will continue to have media interviews after we finish. But again, we do appreciate your time. For those watching us from our digital platforms, we will continue engaging with you all through the year. And we hope that we'll be together again next year. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Thank you very much. But I know you're
We're a nation of dreamers, believing in our dreams. It can be kila mmoja wetu ana ndoto zake, tukijitahidi tutazifikia. Nchi ya mashujaa, nchi ya tumaini, imara na ustawi, daima twende mbele. Our dreams are big. Our dreams are strong. Mipango kutimika, ndoto kufanikiwa, sote twasonga mbele hadi tufike kilele. We're a nation of dreamers, na ndoto zetu, fanikio yetu. It can be, usikate tamaa, usikufe moyo, anzia ulipo, kupiga hatua, hatua kwa hatua. Our dreams are big, believe. It can be, we're a nation of dreamers, na ndoto zetu, fanikio yetu. It can be, we're a nation of dreamers, na ndoto zetu, fanikio yetu. It can be, hadi tufike kilele, hadi tufike kilele. It can be. We're a nation of dreamers, believing in our dreams. It can be, kila mmoja wetu ana ndoto zake, tukijitahidi tutazifikia. Nchi ya mashujaa, nchi ya tumaini, imara na ustawi, daima twende mbele. Our dreams are big. Our dreams are strong. Mipango kutimika, ndoto kufanikiwa, sote twasonga mbele hadi tufike kilele. We're a nation of dreamers, na ndoto zetu, fanikio yetu. mafanikio yetu.